What is going on, my family? Your boy Demetrius is back, and here we are going to talk about the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. Specifically, we are going to talk about Mortal Kombat 2. And when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2, we're going to talk about the Mortal Kombat 2 character tier list. Now, here's the thing. The reason that I'm doing this is because, of course, back into those classic arcade days, there was no such thing as tier lists. People weren't making tier list stuff like that. So now in 2025, every time you open up your phone, every time you open up Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all you see is somebody making a fabricated ass tier list. Y'all feel what I'm saying? But when it comes to me, this tier list is not fabricated, but at the same time, it will explain character level when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. Now, when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2 and the character tier list, I base this tier list off of the special moves. I also base this tier list off of fatalities depending on the certain characters, and also combo potential and stuff like that. You know, very simple. Y'all feel what I'm saying? And like I said, this is a tier list. It's basically going off of what I believe and what I experience. And so I do know everyone else has their own version of the tier list and where they would place certain characters, and that's fine. So that's what we're going to cover when we talk about this Mortal Kombat 2 character tier list. You know, the reason why I've placed these characters where they are, that is what it's going to be based off of. But before we get into it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to your boy for more of this exciting Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection talk. We are going to get into it right now. Mortal Kombat 2 character tier list. Let's go.
It has begun.
Alright, so here is the character tier list for Mortal Kombat 2 for the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. And as you see, this is how we have the tier list. We have the S tier, A tier, B tier, and C tier. Now, originally, I was not going to do an S tier because I don't believe in the whole S tier thing. But when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2, I kind of felt with a couple of characters, the S tier was necessary. So we did put in an S tier when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2 and the Legacy Collection. So first, we're going to start off the S tier. We have Shang Tsung, we have Scorpion. Shang Tsung obviously is the best character in the game for obvious reasons, because he can morph into any character and turn himself into that character's power ranking. So whenever you can do that, you're automatically the best character in the game, and you're automatically on top of the S tier. You know, a lot of people say that Shang Tsung is worthless because of that, because when people use him, all they do is morph into Scorpion and morph in Kitana. But, you know, it is what it is. Best character in the game because of that. Also, too, when it comes to Shang Tsung, his projectile, like the 3 fireballs, the 1, the 2, and the 3, you know, it's a nice zoning tactic when it comes to that. And also, too, Shang Tsung does have issues when it comes to his morphing. He does have weaknesses. When he morphed into someone, you had to make sure you wasn't anywhere near your opponent because you would get hit. You feel what I'm saying? So he had a weakness when he morphed, and he also had a weakness when he morphed back into himself. So, you know, even though a lot of people saw that as overpowered, there were still weaknesses behind that. But like I said, Shang Tsung, still the best character in the game. S tier without a doubt. Second after that is Scorpion. Scorpion clearly S tier. Second best character in the game, obviously. Probably the most powerful character in the game when it comes to combos and stuff like that, and what Scorpion was able to do. We already know when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2, Scorpion was a motherfucker, crazy ass character. We all remember back in the arcades, the combos that Scorpion was able to do. Jump kick into spear, into uppercut. You know, Scorpion had the jump kick, teleport. Then, of course, you can do the air throw combo. Scorpion just had a lot of crazy shit. Clearly S tier. Also, too, the spear, probably the best or the second best projectile in the game. You know, it's basically a toss-up between him and Sub-Zero. And of course, you know that Scorpion has the most famous original fatality in the game, as well as the entire Mortal Kombat franchise, the Great Toasty. Toasty! That fatality, you know what I'm saying? The fatality never gets old. Scorpion carries it everywhere he goes. So you always have to put that in account when it comes to Scorpion's original toasty fatality. So those are the two S tier characters right there. Shang Tsung, Scorpion. The A tier. So the A tier, we have Liu Kang, we have Kung Lao, and we have Jax. Now, when it comes to Kung Lao and Jax, you can flip-flop them. They could either be second behind Liu Kang or third, whichever one. You know, I chose Kung Lao, but like I said, you could put Jax right behind Liu Kang. And I'm going to explain the A tier when it comes to these three characters and why they are in the A tier. So when it starts with Liu Kang, we already know Liu Kang is the Mary Sue. Liu Kang has different versions of projectile. He can throw his fireballs high, he can throw it low, he can throw it in the air. Liu Kang's low fireball was a clear advantage when it came to getting into a projectile battle, because his low fireball, if someone threw a high fireball, it would automatically miss Liu Kang. Liu Kang had that in his advantage. Of course, the flying kick, one of the most powerful moves in the game, one of the most fastest moves in the game. Liu Kang can instantly get into your face, you know what I'm saying? And if you're not ready for it, you're gonna get hit by it. You know, Liu Kang from a combo standpoint, you know, had a lot of combos that he could do. Jump kick into fireball, into flying kick, you feel what I'm saying? Or jump kick into air fireball, into flying kick. You know, jump kick to air fireball, bicycle kick. Liu Kang had a lot of mix-ups that he could perform at his disposal. Also, too, Mortal Kombat 2 introduced the famous Dragon Morph fatality from Liu Kang. The fatality got so famous to the point where we started seeing it in future Mortal Kombat games and in some of the Mortal Kombat movies. You know, we seen it in Mortal Kombat 3 as his animality. We seen it in the Mortal Kombat Annihilation movie as his animality. We seen it in Mortal Kombat 4. So the Dragon Morph fatality just became an instant classic iconic fatality. You know, that's what makes Liu Kang at the top of the A tier list. And like I said, Liu Kang also had his weaknesses. The flying kick, bicycle kick, when they get blocked, you can uppercut him or roundhouse kick him, but you really had to be focused for it because they are some fast fucking moves. And that was Liu Kang's strong point. It's just his moves were so fast. You really gotta be zoned in and gotta be focused when it comes to going up against Liu Kang, because if he gets those flying kicks off, it's gonna be a rough day for you. It's gonna be an absolutely rough day for you. Second is Kung Lao. Kung Lao had a lot of good things going on. That's why I put him in the A tier. Kung Lao's projectile was very unique because you can control it when you threw it out. You know, you can control it going up into the air. You can control it going down low. So Kung Lao had that uniqueness to him. He had the most unique projectile in the game because you could actually control it. Of course, Kung Lao had the famous teleport. Then, of course, you know, Kung Lao was that character that he can keep you out. You know, you try to get in on him. It was hard to approach Kung Lao because of what I just mentioned. You know, he can use his hats to get you out of the air. He could use his hats if you were ducking. Kung Lao can use that hat to catch ducking opponents. And also he could use the hat to just throw it straight if you were just going to sit there and try to play footsies with him. So Kung Lao was a hard character to kind of approach. He's a very good zoning character. And of course, he had the spin attack where if you tried to get in on him, he can perform the spin attack. So Kung Lao was a good keep away character. If you tried to get into his face, he had a lot of things that he could do to keep you out of his face. You feel what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to his combo potential, Kung Lao kind of lacked in the combo potential when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. But, you know, still, the things that he was able to do with his special moves, the zoning and the footsies, the ability to control his projectile was something really unique when it came to Mortal Kombat 2. Now, Jax, the third character to round off the A tier. So basically the reason why I have Jax in the A tier is because, one, Jax really had no weakness in this game. He had no weakness in Mortal Kombat 2. Also, two, Jax was probably the best corner character in the game. If Jax got you in the corner, there's a good chance that you're just not getting out. And Jax has so many things that he can do once he cornered you. Like, he can keep you in the corner, like with a vertical jump kick into backbreaker into uppercut combo, vertical jump kick into backbreaker into gotcha grab, extra damage, crazy damage like that. Also, too, Jax was a character you had to respect him full screen because he had the ground slam, so you had to be ready for that. You know, if you tried to play zone with him, He can do the ground slam, basically throw you off of your axis and stuff like that. So like I said, Jax really had no weakness in Mortal Kombat 2, and he inflicted crazy damage with his backbreaker combos. Okay, so here we got the B list. In the B list, we have Sub-Zero, we have Kitana, and we have Baraka. So, of course, I'm going to elaborate on why these three characters are in the B list. Actually, I'm going to start with Baraka. I have Baraka as number 3 in the B list. And to be quite honest with you, I was originally going to put Baraka in the A list instead of Jax, but then I kind of thought about it. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to put Jax in the A list because of what I just explained, and put Baraka in the B tier list. And the reason why is because I thought, you know, Baraka is just a really spammy character, no skill behind this character. Everybody can remember back in the arcade days or wherever you played Mortal Kombat 2 online, all players did with Baraka was back, low punch, the shredder move. That's all players really did. Baraka was a really spammy character, nothing really going on with him when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. So I decided to put Baraka as the 3rd character in the B tier list. Kitana, I will put 2nd. Kitana had a lot of good things going on. I'm gonna be all the way real. Kitana was kind of cheap too when it came to Mortal Kombat 2. You know, the jump kick into the air fan throw combo and stuff like that. You know, Kitana did have the fan lift, was really a good anti-air move. It started a good air combo. Of course, if Kitana got you into that air lift, you know, she goes into the jump kick, fan throw, air punch combo. You know, the iconic classic combo. Y'all know what that combo is. So Kitana has that. But Kitana also had a couple of weaknesses too. One of Kitana's biggest weakness was her standard fan throw. And the reason why it's a weakness is because when Kitana throws her standard fan throw, Kitana stands there for a long time. You could actually, if you time your jump, you can actually jump over it and actually uppercut her. So Kitana's standard fan throw was a weakness for her. Other than that, Kitana has some pretty good shit going on. And also, too, a lot of people don't realize Kitana was a terrible matchup for Kentaro. You feel what I'm saying? You know, back in the arcade days, people would actually cherry pick off of Kitana to get past Kentaro, because Kentaro would have a hard time with Kitana because of her combo. That jump kick into air fan throw, air punch combo, yeah. You know, people always use Kitana to get past Kentaro. That was a terrible matchup for Kentaro. So, yeah, Kitana, she's 2nd on the B tier list. Like I said, Kitana had a lot of good shit going on there. Sub-Zero. So Sub-Zero is number 1 in the B tier list for obvious reasons. Of course, the ice ball. You know, depending on who you are, the ice ball is probably the best projectile in the game. You cannot get into any type of projectile battle with Sub-Zero. That is basically true to this day in any Mortal Kombat game. You just cannot get into any projectile battle with Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero is always going to win out. He had the ground ice, which was a nice manipulation tactic. You know, Sub-Zero can throw that down, make you question whether you want it to go forward. Sub-Zero also can throw down the ground ice and really can bait you into a lot of things. So, like I said, Sub-Zero had a lot of good things going on in Mortal Kombat 2. Combo potential, not really there with Sub-Zero. It was really just straightforward him, you know, get somebody in an ice situation, uppercut them and stuff like that. But like I said, Sub-Zero is number 1 when it comes to the B tier list. So now we're coming to the C tier. Now the C tier may be a little bit controversial, but like I said, I'm going to explain in every aspect on why I place these characters in the order that I placed them when it comes to the C tier. So when it comes to the C tier, Johnny Cage, Reptile, Raiden, and Melina. So we're going to start with Johnny Cage. And the reason why I say Johnny Cage starts off the C tier list, Johnny Cage is pretty much all around average. Now, he does have a lot of weaknesses when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. For an example, the shadow kick, if you duck it, you can uppercut it. If you block it, you can uppercut it. High kick, roundhouse, very punishable. The shadow uppercut is not a very good move. You know, you could duck that, uppercut that, or whatever. One of the bright spots that Johnny Cage has is his fireball. He has a high direction fireball and a low direction fireball. So that's a high point for him. But other than that, his other 2 moves are weaknesses. And of course, you have the famous nut punch That's always a good move. You know, you get that off, you get a free uppercut, free roundhouse, whatever. So Johnny Cage is pretty much all around average when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. That's why I have him at the start of the C list. Also, too, his fatalities are pretty average. Also, the triple head uppercut, that was a pretty fun thing. You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said, Johnny Cage, all around average when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. Reptile, another all-around average character. A Reptile can actually be pretty dangerous when it comes to his invincibility move. If you know how to use it correctly, Reptile can be very, very dangerous. So dangerous to the fact that if you use that invincibility move correctly, Reptile could damn near be A-list. You feel what I'm saying? But he's all around average. I put him in the C list. Also, too, with Reptile, I kind of feel like his projectile, the acid spit, is also a little bit of a weakness. It really doesn't do much as far as damage. And also, too, if you're going up against a character like Liu Kang and you spit the acid, you know, it's a high projectile. A character like Liu Kang can shoot low and can automatically hit Reptile. And other characters like Sub-Zero and Scorpion, they're going to beat Reptile out when it comes to projectile battles. So y'all already know when it comes to MK projectiles. Like I said, Reptile all around average. So the last two characters here, a lot of people are going to be disappointed, especially the Mileena fans. But Raiden, I have number 3 in the C list. And to be quite honest with you, Raiden is that character after Kung Lao and Liu Kang I use a lot in Mortal Kombat 2. So when I put Raiden in the C list, it's coming from experience and it's coming from complete honesty. Raiden, as good as he is in Mortal Kombat 2, has a lot of weaknesses. His torpedo, of course, is an iconic move, but let's just keep it all the way real. The move gets blocked a lot, and when it gets blocked, Raiden can get uppercutted. His teleport is pretty predictable. If the opponent knows that you're going to do it, Raiden is going to get uppercutted. His electricity grab is pretty much worthless in Mortal Kombat 2 because you have to charge and be close to your opponent. And in Mortal Kombat 2, when you get close to your opponent is going to press something. So it's really hard to get that electricity grab off. Like I said, Raiden has a lot of weaknesses there. His lightning bolt toss is pretty good when it comes to projectiles. But like I said, Raiden is one of those characters you really have to be very strategic and methodical with, because like I said, a lot of his moves really put him in danger. And that comes to the final character, and that is Mileena. Before Mileena fans get all pissy, let me elaborate on why I have Mileena last in the C list. Now look, as I said, there is no bad character when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. But if we're going pound for pound, power for power, ranking for ranking, Mileena is pretty much the worst character in the game. And I am going to explain why. I have her so low because she has a charge projectile. Y'all got to think about that. A projectile that you have to charge in battle in Mortal Kombat 2, that's not good. The reason for it is because when she charges to throw her side projectile, she can't block. So a character such as a Liu Kang or whoever can literally get in her face while she's charging and trying to throw that projectile, and you know, it can be pretty bad. So Mileena having a charge projectile, I don't think that's a good thing, and I think she has the worst projectile in the game because she's the only character that charges to get her projectile out, and I feel like that's kind of bad. Also too, Mileena's moves, you know, if you don't use them correctly, Mileena can get punished very easily. Her teleport kick, if that gets blocked, she gets uppercutted. Her roll attack, if that gets blocked, she gets uppercutted. So her move list doesn't help her out at all. Mileena's a tough character to play in Mortal Kombat 2 because, like I said, you don't use her moves correctly, she's going to get punished. The best thing when it comes to Mileena is when you use her moves, make sure her moves are being used in a combo sense, like, you know, jump kick into a roll attack or something like that. Just don't do her moves because people will block them. Her moves are pretty predictable. So that's why I have Mileena very low. She's very predictable, and her projectile is a charge projectile, which is not good going up against a lot of characters such as Liu Kang, such as Shang Tsung, and a couple of other characters, you know, Scorpion. Her projectile just does not help her in battles like that. Also, too, I want to cap it off. Melina's fatalities are pretty much the worst in the game. Like, you know, the whole side shredding thing, not really entertaining. The suck 'em dry, and then she spits out your bones, and nah, not really entertaining to me. So her fatalities, I give her fatalities like a 6 out of 10. So, you know, that's why I got Melina at the bottom. You feel what I'm saying? It's not to piss Melina fans off. It's just like she's pretty much the worst character pound for pound when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. That's just real talk. So that is my tier list when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2. Like I said, you know, it's a tier list. It's going off of experience when I play Mortal Kombat 2. So basically now, what do y'all think about the tier list? Do y'all agree? Do y'all disagree? And if y'all have a tier list when it comes to Mortal Kombat 2 and the characters, where would y'all place them? Put y'all thoughts and y'all feelings in the comment section below. We could definitely get a conversation started. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to your boy for more of this real-ass Mortal Kombat Classic Legacy Collection talk. My name is Demetrius. I will get back at you in the next video. God bless. Stay safe. I am out. Peace.